Hola, soy Patrick, el instructor que tiene este semestre para la clase de Español 203, que voy a hacer una introducción breve de mí y luego voy a pasar al inglés y para repasar el sílabus que tenemos para este semestre. Bien, empiezo entonces. Yo soy Patrick, como dije. Yo soy un estudiante graduado en la Universidad de Washington State. Es mi segundo año en el programa y mi segundo año como instructor de español. El año pasado hice las clases de 101 y 102. Ese semestre tengo 203 con ustedes. Algunos de ustedes ya me conocen de esas clases previas y si no, pues bienvenidos y es un placer conocerles a todos. Bien, mi experiencia en la enseñanza, yo tengo antes de Washington State 4 años de experiencia como profesor maestro en una secundaria en Illinois. Asistí a la Universidad de Illinois especializando en la enseñanza del español, así que tengo bastante experiencia. Tengo experiencia también en viajar a muchos países del mundo en Sudamérica, Centroamérica y Europa, entre ellos muchos que hablan español, obviamente. Y eso es todo. Ahora voy a pasar al inglés para repasar el syllabus. Cambio. English. Okay. So right now I'm going to go through the syllabus that we have for this semester. So starting at the top, you can find this again on Moodle. And I'm going to go through highlighting the very important parts of it. Some of these things you can read on your own, and I'll just leave you to do so. But things that might need a little more explanation, I'll do so in this video right here. So again, my name is there. My office is Thompson 205. Okay, Thompson at the bottom of the hill, down the hill, and on the left side if you're coming from the center of campus. My email does not have the word email in it. Note that, please. At wsu.edu. And office hours are Tuesdays from 3 to 5 p.m. I'm going to let you read the conceptual statement if you want to on your own, course goals and outcomes also on your own, and skip ahead to required course materials. Required course materials are Spanish 203 from Gente. This is a packet which you can get at the bookie. Okay. The packet will also give you a password and access codes to My Spanish Lab. My Spanish Lab is the website where you're going to complete your homework assignments. The ISBN number is there. You can go to the bookie and find that from them if you're having trouble finding it. Those of you familiar with the book already who've taken the class the last few semesters will know how this works, so you know the drill. We need to have lessons 13 through 20. Methodology with Gente. I'm going to read this paragraph. Gente is a task-based and content-based Spanish learning program. With Gente, you learn Spanish in the classroom through interaction and collaborative work. Students also reflect upon how the Spanish language works and upon their own language learning process. Discovery is the key to learning. Gente encourages integration of the 4 skills and development of cultural awareness by providing a rich context in which students learn by doing, and the teacher acts as a facilitator of the learning process. I don't do a whole lot of instruction in our class time. If you're going to get instruction from me, it'll either be at my office hours or, I don't know, very little in class. But instruction is going to be focused on getting you to do things in the course. As many of you I know are already familiar with this. You can read about the philosophy behind the task-based approach if you're interested, and the guide to the text, about how Gente works. But again, Gente is going to encourage us. All this in brief says is that we're going to learn the language by doing things that are real, relevant to our own lives. We're going to take our own background, knowledge, and experience and communicate with people in class, collaborate with them, focus on tasks, the tareas, which we'll find in our book, and we're going to use the language that we're learning to actually do things right away, communicate genuinely with each other right away, talk about different ideas that are presented in the book. So that's what we can look forward to. Assignments, you'll have studying and reading, preparing yourself for what we're going to do in class the next day. That's on your own. Really, there's no checking on that. Now, My Spanish Lab, there is a lot of checking on. These exercises will represent your homework grade for the class, so make sure we do those on time. And written journals, which are 3 writing assignments of a specified length, focusing on a particular topic. Homework will be on My Spanish Lab and needs to be turned in by the day assigned on the My Spanish Lab calendar. And I'll set the deadline for that late at night so to give you guys as much time that day to get them done. But please get them done on time because they're relevant to what we're doing in class. So we want to have practiced what we're doing in class so that we can be prepared to do our collaborations and do our tareas in the class time. Journals are assigned to encourage fluency in writing. 2 journals will be done in class and the remainder will be done at home. so just one for the semester. The purpose of the journals is to encourage expression of your ideas within a framework and in a written format. The instructions for in-class journals will be given that day. Journals must be typed 12-point Times New Roman font and double-spaced. This is very important. If these aren't that way when we do them, then I automatically take your points off. So that's a quick way to make sure you get those points. And a detailed explanation of the grading will be given to you with your first written assignment. Participation is very important, very important. I will be honest with you, people who come to class on time and participate and give a good effort almost always get either a 5 or a 4. So you can read and see what you need to get a 5. Here we see attended class, the entire class, and arrived on time, actively listened in class, brought materials, stayed on task, and participated and spoke mostly in Spanish. Most people who come to class, just by virtue of the way that the class is structured, are going to get those 5 points, but it is not a guarantee. Especially quiet people might be towards the 4 of these points. And then to get a 3, you're going to have to do fewer and fewer of these things, and often if you maybe are not on task, that's a way you might get marked down to a 3. But I'm being honest with you, if you come to class, you almost always get a 4 or a 5, and that's just me, your instructor, who actually controls the grade, telling you come to class because you'll get much higher participation than if you don't come to class. And that should go without saying, but I'm saying it anyway. Right below here we see the absence policy. So each student is allowed 3 absences which will not affect the participation grade. Any absence beyond this point will result in the loss of participation points for that day. So at the end of the semester, if you missed 3 classes, I'll just go back and recredit you with your participation points. But beyond those 3, those points stay off and you don't get them back. So one way to alleviate this is don't be absent more than 3 times, or don't be absent ever. Just do your best to get to class, and that's really going to help your grade, not just your grade, but your learning, which will in turn influence all your other grades to be higher, better, and make you a better language learner. Okay, so read the rest of this about extensive absences. Note that underlined here, no accommodation will be made in the last 2 weeks of classes. If you have a complaint to file, this is very important. So if you have troubles, let's deal with them in a timely manner, and we can either solve them, or we can encourage you to maybe pick up the study in a different semester than this one where you have more time. If you're an athlete, please read this bullet point just below the absence policy, because you need to provide us with written excuse for your or written schedule of when you're going to miss class within the first 2 weeks of our course. Tests and exams. We will have lesson tests after each lesson, okay, every chapter. We'll have a midterm written exam, a midterm listening exam, an oral exam at the end of the semester, and a final exam. You'll see how the course grade breakdown works. 25% for lesson tests, 7.5% for the midterm written and the midterm listening. 15% is your final exam. 10% final oral exam, and then 10% homework, journals, and participation, which is altogether, what's that, 25%? Along with our lessons. So what we do during the semester is half of our grade, and then what we get tested on in the middle and the end is the other half. So it's very important to get as much of that homework, journal, and participation points as possible to give us some breathing room for the things where we have to kind of prove what we do or do not know. You can check the final grade scale there. Okay. All right. Another important thing is the use of cell phones and electronic devices, translation aids, CD players, iPods, all those other things are not going to be allowed in our class. Please save them for other times. I know you might think they could help us with certain things, and if they really can, then I'll let you know when it's an okay time to use them. But in general, just don't ask, just don't use them, please. There's also no extra credit for this course. You can read more about, you have to get a C or better to move on. If you have questions about your grade, please talk to me as soon as you can. Students with disabilities, make sure you talk to me if you need reasonable accommodation or need to schedule test taking in the Access Center. Cheating is an important thing to address. Academic integrity, in bold here. Any form of cheating on any work presented for credit will result in receiving a grade of F for the class, not merely a 0 for such work. So if you cheat ever, you get an F for the entire class, not just for the thing you cheated on. Very important, very serious. Let's not deal with that. You can read about safety on your own, and the other special course fees and Language Learning Resource Center. You can read about those on your own. At the end of the syllabus, we see the schedule. This will be pretty much accurate. We have where our tests are scheduled for right now. If if there's any change to these, I'll make sure I make it very, very well publicized. And I also am going to, at a later date, prepare a sheet that tells you all of your test dates and all of your journal due dates, just to give you a heads up on that and have it all in one place. I'll make a copy of that for everyone, and then we will go from there. So anyway, sorry I missed the first day of class. Lo siento. I'm glad that you watched the video, and we will talk further in person. Thank you for watching. I look forward to having a really good semester with everyone. So, hasta luego y nos vemos el miércoles, espero. Hasta luego.